And why do you like the elephant? This is just a side note before we get into our deep and meaningful discussion, John.
Well, it probably really goes back to my childhood because I fell in love with elephants. That's all. I just love elephants.
Oh, you just love elephants, right?
Yeah.
Elephants,
Hence
would you say they're mindful animal? I was thinking maybe they're mindful animals.
They are they're very family oriented, and we've all heard they have great memories, and they do.
Yes.
But I think that's why, because of their values. Elephants have great values.
Great values.
And,
yes.
yeah. And we should live by our values as well.
Yes.
So there's lots to learn from the elephant. Yeah.
Fantastic. And it's a very, very nice business card. And, those 3 words makes a huge difference. When I started reading your books and, learning from you, truly, if we can do those 3 things, it can help us to be so anchored into the present moment.
If you Google Be Mindful, Pause, Connect, you'll find me. I've made it my thing for many years now. And I'll just explain that for your audience, if you like, Kitty.
Yes, please.
Be mindful is a key thought that I teach people to use. Anytime they notice their mind being unhelpful or negative, they notice their mind in the past, which can make us depressed, or in the future, which can make us anxious, or if we just notice our mind far away, we use be mindful as a key thought, an instruction from the heart, because I try not to believe a lot of things, but one thing I truly believe is that God reads hearts, not minds, hearts.
Wow, beautiful.
So once we start living from our heart, following our heart, and in this case, using our heart to give our mind the instruction, be mindful, and then we allow that instruction to trigger a pause. And it only takes a few seconds. We pause our mind, and we connect with that nothingness where everything is. And in that pause, we connect. And we connect 3 different ways. We connect with where we are. Take a look around now.
Yes.
Everything you see started with a thought. Amazing, isn't it?
It's amazing. So
we connect with where we are using our 5 senses: hearing, sight, smell, taste, touch, if you're with a partner, very important.
Yes.
Also, we connect with who we're with full presence. That means not thinking about what to say next or having any agenda, just being present. It's the most beautiful gift you can give your loved ones, that's for sure. But also all the people in your circles, give them your presence, because they'll sense it if you're fully present with them, just like we sense if people are present with us. We know when people's minds are elsewhere, don't we? We sense it. And also, and this is the most important part of the connection, we connect with our source energy, with God, the universe. Whatever you believe your source energy to be, connect with it. It's real and so powerful once you do develop relationship with God, with our source. It's amazing. And that's pretty much it. So that's how I've simplified all my study, my whole life, really.
Yeah.
Be mindful, pause, connect. And when we do that, and it needs practice, of course, it's easier to say, but it needs to be practiced. And that's where it's really important. And sometimes I have people come to me and they say, oh, yes, they know all about mindfulness. They've read books by Thich Nhat Hanh and, whatever. They've got the knowledge. And then they sometimes say, but it doesn't work for me. And then I say, well, tell me about your practice. And they go, practice? You see where I'm going with that?
Yes.
Yeah. So once we do start practicing that, the benefits start presenting themselves. It doesn't take long. It's very powerful and can be used in all sorts of ways. And it's like you always say, our greatest wealth is our health.
Health.
and
Absolutely.
especially our mental health.
Mental health, so crucial.
Yeah. I know we've all heard mind, body, and soul,
Yes.
but I really believe that that's back to front, because it should be soul, mind, and body, because really we can't get our mind right until we get our soul right. And we can't really get our body right until we get our mind right. So it starts with soul, it starts with spirit. Once we get that right, then there's the flow on effect. And mindfulness is definitely the way, because as we develop our practice, we connect more and more with ourselves. Our life becomes more ordered, because even though we might have 500 things to do, and they say to be successful, you need 500 things to do. But it's amazing once you start pausing, how it becomes prioritized. You know the next thing to do, the next step. It's amazing. That's just one of the benefits of mindfulness. It's a beautiful thing.
I like that idea that soul comes before mind and body, because we often focus more on just our physical self, but we are really spiritual being living in our human existence. And that really gives me the perspective of understanding, as you talk about soul, mind, and body, or be mindful, pause, and connect. And much like my 5 dimensions, I start off with spiritual, then mental, emotional, physical, and social. Physical is only after, and we're on the same understanding, I believe, John.
Perfect. Oh, absolutely. We're on the same page, Kitty.
We're on
No
the same
doubt
page.
about it. And
Yes.
mindfulness is the tool, and it really is a tool to become awakened, or enlightened, or find nirvana, or there's lots of different words for the same thing. I like awakened. Because,
awakening, right.
Yeah, I know how my life was before I awakened, way back in 1997 now. And you're familiar with my story, how I died in a truck accident in 1982 and then got stuck in the mental health system for 15 years. And by 1997, mental health professionals told me that what I had was incurable and that I would never work again and I would have to take medication for the rest of my life. And I believed them, and that kept me stuck. Yeah. And then an old friend of mine who was passing through town, and in his words, he had a spiritual prompt to come and knock on my door and share his story. And that story, I haven't been able to find him ever since. He kept going and searched social media and phone books regularly trying to find him, but I can't. It's like he was a ghost. He was
really an angel.
An angel, actually. You're
Yes.
spot on. Definitely an angel. And that story led to my spiritual awakening on 12th of October, which is today, actually. And 12th of October, 1997. What's that? 24 years ago now.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So today's the anniversary of that. It just occurred.
Anniversary of the day that you met that friend. Wow.
Yeah. And yeah, that was actually 10th of October, World Mental Health Day, that he knocked on my door.
Yes.
2 days later, I had what I can only describe as a spiritual awakening. And he has no idea what he did for me that day. And it's just amazing. And that's why I'm a huge fan of the ripple effect. And, I often say it is always my hope that the people who are touched by my ripple then create a ripple of their own. And that way we can change the world. One person at a time we can. Government and religions haven't been able to do it, but we can, Kitty. We can.
Fantastic. Yes. That's
for sure. And I know you believe that too. And it's all about the ripple. And
ripple effect is very powerful. And, John, you and I have a lot of synchronicity. I remember last time that we had this chat, it was, I think the 9th of September, 9th of 9, 2020. And that was also a special day for you. And this time I didn't even know we picked this day, the 12th of October is the anniversary. So it's like, the divine appointment of synchronicity of us connecting. I mean, you and I have been friends for many years now, like 7 years, yet we don't always talk all the time because both of us have our respective, I suppose, you know, tasks and stuff. Yet whenever we connect, I believe, you know, there's always this same page, same synchronicity. And I'm very grateful for that. Very grateful. And so, John, I would like to ask you, I know that, you know, 2 days ago on Sunday, it was October 10th, which is the World Mental Health Day, where you organized an online event where I had the privilege of being part of. And you shared with us about your experience as a lived experience recovery coach. And I was very fascinated when you share that. Why don't you share with the audience about that?
Yeah, I'd love to, Kitty. And of course, like I said before, my business name is Mindfulness Coach, and that's my passionate purpose is teaching people mindfulness, of course. But you know, these days there's so much mindfulness around. You can Google mindfulness, and you know, it finds millions and millions of pages about mindfulness, and there's a lot of free things that you can do to learn mindfulness. So I decided to just change my track a little bit, if you like, and call myself a lived experience recovery coach, whether people are recovering from mental disorder or addiction disorder, and they're often intertwined, of course. And lived experience is a fairly new expression. For many years now, I've been part of a government forum in my local health district up here in Northern Rivers of New South Wales. It goes from Grafton to Tweed Heads, and it includes all the hospitals in that area as well. And I belong to a forum, a mental health forum, and the forum is made up of people with lived experience and also some carers of people with mental disorder. And the forum has been set up in every health district as well to start, because the government instructed actually each health district to start consulting the voice of lived experience. Because, well, I'll tell you a little story what happened a little while ago now, probably late last year.
Okay.
And some figures come through from Black Dog Institute, and the figure was 72% of people who suicide are known to the mental health system. And when you think about that, that's 3 out of 4 people. Well, that's pretty disgusting, actually. So I was talking to the manager of this region's hospitals in mental health and alcohol and other drugs, and I mentioned that to her. And she said, John, what are we doing wrong? And I said to her, I said, well, there's no spirituality or culture in mental health service. It's just not there. It's totally absent. And I said, and she said, you're right, John. And she agreed with me. But she said, how do we do it? And I said, well, it's not about calling in the Catholic priest, that's for sure. I said, it's about using people with lived experience, because I know with myself, I've been hospitalized quite a few times through those 15 years of being stuck in the mental health system myself. And at no point was I ever, there was no mentors or anything who could give me proper perspective on my experiences.
Oh, wow.
When people have spiritual experiences, and that's what they're having,
Yeah.
and they're often diagnosed with schizophrenia and bipolar and hearing voices and psychosis, things like that, and they don't understand what's happening to them. And before you know it, they're stuck in the system. And that's why I'm very passionate about my purpose, and the reason why I offer my mentoring service is to help people who are stuck, and like I was,
Yes.
and told that, and they're still being told they can't be cured and have to take medication the rest of their life. Nothing's changed today. Yeah. So that's why I've decided to call myself a lived experience recovery coach.
I love that.
Because honestly, people with lived experience can be more helpful than university trained psychiatrists. I'm not picking on them, but yeah, and
Yes.
I know that's true. So
I can relate to that, John. As I shared with you on Sunday during the World Mental Health Day, you know, I went through a bit of mental health challenges earlier this year, where I had, you know, 5 of my close friends who passed away of cancer, of brain aneurysm, and COVID-19. And during that time, I was sort of, you know, going through a bit of a rough patch. And I feel like, you know, the resources that I've learned, you know, through what you've taught, like mindfulness and, you know, tapping, emotional freedom techniques and others have been able to help me, along with some of the supplementations that I've been taking. And obviously, for people that have had lived experiences like you and me, we can identify and empathize so much more with those that are going through similar, you know, rough patch in mental health challenges. Or you like to call it getting stuck. It's not even like an illness, right? We're just getting stuck. We can help each other to get unstuck. So by being a recovery coach, because we've recovered, we're healed, we can help others. And that is really beautiful. And that's where the ripple effect can start to happen. So I can really see that, John, when you are helping the people that you've been helping, they get recovered, then they can pay it forward and be the ripple effect and help other one person at a time. Love that.
perfect, Kitty. Yep, spot on.
I love what you do, because what you do has made a huge difference and such a blessing to many, many people globally. And in fact, you know, you are the creator of a very special therapy called RAG, which is Resistance, Acceptance, Gratitude. Why don't you tell us a bit more about that?
Well, all the modern therapies, and they call it third wave psychology is the expression that's used. And that includes, you know, things like CBS, cognitive behavior therapy, CBT, I mean, and RFT, relational frame theory, and CBT kind of came out of that one. It's been, you know, therapies have evolved over the last 150 years or so, and also ACT therapy, acceptance and commitment therapy. And then when I put Mindful Insights together, it's a 52-week mentoring service that I offer people. And
I've got it here.
yeah, and it's a book now. That's the one.
Mindful Insights, 52 weeks
Yep.
of journey to master your mind.
Thanks, Kitty. Yeah, so when I put that together, I tried to put the most important things at the beginning. And then it occurred to me one day that those 3 things that I put at the start were resistance, acceptance, and gratitude. And gratitude was first, actually, because a gratitude practice on its own is quite powerful. But yeah, and then that spelled RAG, resistance, acceptance, and gratitude. It's a very simple therapy, and it's about when you notice you're being resistant. Oh, and all those third wave psychology therapies are mindfulness based, all of them. Mindfulness is at the heart. So when we notice we're being resistant, especially to change, because people with mental disorder or addiction disorders or eating disorder, any of those disorders, they need change, but we are naturally resistant to change. So when we notice we're being resistant, then we use mindfulness, of course, and we can use be mindful, pause, connect, and we'll say eating disorder. So if you've got a piece of cake in your hand, okay, and this is how I teach people to use mindfulness with an eating disorder. The cake's in your hand, so you think to yourself, be mindful. And after a while, you don't need the instruction because it becomes automatic once you develop your new habit of be mindful, pause, connect. Yeah. So you just pause and connect. So you pause just a few seconds while you're focusing on whatever's in your hand, whatever food it is. And then out of the silence you create for those few seconds, something will drop into your mind. Okay. And then eat the cake. That's okay. But what does happen eventually is you start listening to yourself.
Yes.
Because we don't listen to anyone else, do we? We don't listen to mum and dad or the therapist or anyone else. But who we will listen to is ourselves.
Yes.
So when we start taking notice of what drops into our mind, then we're able to change.
Yeah.
Nothing else will make us change.
No.
Only us. Yeah.
Only us.
When we notice we're being resistant, especially to change, and that's perfectly natural because it comes out of the Stone Age days. And, you know, back in those days, all we had to do was go to the front of the cave and make up our mind which way we're going to go hunting for the day's food.
Yes.
And, you know, if you didn't get it right, if you weren't living in awareness, which is mindfulness, is awareness,
Sure.
you can nearly call it awareness,
Awareness.
then you might not notice the rustling of the leaves or the shadow in the bushes, which could be a saber-toothed tiger, and you could be eaten.
That's right.
So we needed to be resistant. We need to be thinking what could go wrong.
Yes.
We needed to have a healthy fear because it kept us alive. But we don't have those things today.
No.
We still have that same resistant mindset. So once we sort of wake up to that, so we notice we're being resistant, then we pause and connect, same old thing. And then we use acceptance to overcome that resistance, because there's no sense in fighting it or make it go away or try and make it stop. Acceptance, it's such a powerful thing. Accept whatever shows up in our mind. Accept it. Don't try and fight it or make it go away or stop it, try and stop it. Some people work hard or run, they exercise hard, but they're only doing it to escape their thoughts. So acceptance, it's powerful.
Yes.
And then if then go to gratitude, and just think of a couple of things we're grateful for, because if we don't take our mind somewhere else, it might go straight back where it was. We don't want that, especially if it's unhelpful or negative. So that's the simple therapy, you know, rag therapy.
I love it.
I actually made a website, ragtherapy.com, if anyone wants to have a look at that.
Certainly.
But yeah, it's you don't have to go to university to learn it, that's for sure. It's,
we can learn from you, John. You are our university lecturer and professor. I mean, I feel like I've learned so much from you regarding mindfulness throughout the last few years. It's almost much better than attending a university degree. Like when it comes to what you've taught, you know, in your books, in your you know, social media, and your sharing. But I love the fact that you know, if we keep on thinking about what we're grateful for, because this year, I mean, this month is the mental health month. So every single day of this month, which is in October, there's 31 days. Every day, I've got like day 1, day 2, today is the 12th, it's day 12. I have on my little, you know, social media Facebook page, one tip to help people with, you know, improving their mental health. And it was yesterday that I actually have gratitude, practice gratitude. Today, obviously, is embrace mindfulness. And I'm going to add the acceptance onto it. And of course, be mindful, pause, and connect. So that definitely will help us to become a lot more, not only healthy, but, you know, mindful and happy as well, right? When we are mindful, I find that we are happier.
Oh, absolutely. Matter of fact, I often say happiness is a byproduct of a mindful practice.
Yes.
Because happiness doesn't have to be all laughter.
Right, exactly.
If we have peace of mind and clarity of mind, that's happiness to me.
Yes.
You know, peace. It's a beautiful thing, and I haven't always had it either. I know what it's like to be manic, to be almost out of control.
Understand.
Mind going 1,000 miles an hour. And when our minds are going that fast, then nothing can get through. The good stuff can't get through. But once we start developing our mindful practice, a true mindful practice, then throughout every day, we pause and connect, pause and connect. And then life doesn't pass us by anymore. We notice the little things, which can often lead to big things. And you mentioned synchronicities. Wow, mindfulness leads to a life of synchronicity. And when we set our intention, put it out there, the things that we want and need and desire, it's amazing once we start living with awareness, and those things will come along. But of course, the universe has to use other people, connections, things need to happen. But if our mind is so busy, we miss all that. Yeah, and it can't happen. So mindfulness, awareness, happiness, acceptance, they're all powerful words, Kitty. And you have such a beautiful heart. I love what you do too.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And because when it comes to gratitude, I have to say I'm so very grateful that God has allowed me to cross paths with you, John. With you and Maureen, your wife, together, I always feel, after chatting with you and even just looking at your posts on Facebook, it gives me that peace, like the things that you mentioned, happiness, acceptance, and that slowing down, because those that know me know that Kitty is typically quite like a hyperactive personality. So in practicing mindfulness, I find that I have been able to slow down, and then synchronicity has been happening because of the fact that life doesn't pass me by as it has before. And now I am so well aware, and obviously not all the time, I still sort of catch myself going through the motions now and then. But when I am reminded, just like I have been throughout this chat with you, I just feel this bliss.
Yeah, it's true, because we're still human. And even though I consider myself a master,
You are a master.
I still have bad days.
Yeah, we all do, don't we?
It's just being human.
Just being human, yes.
And most often it's because I'm tired. I don't handle tired very well at all. Sleep's very important for me.
Yes.
It should be for all of us as well.
Should be, definitely.
It's not just kids who get a bit cranky when they're tired. Yeah.
We do get cranky when we're tired, that's right. This is our lived experience, we get cranky. But then when we go back to have good rest and sleep well, with good quality and quantity, enough hours, but also quality, then certainly we can get back into a state where we are conscious, we are mindful, we are happy and aware. So on that note, thank you again so much. Like every day, I give myself at least 2 or 3 things that I'm grateful for. No doubt today, I'm grateful for John Shearer, the Mindful Master, who has really transformed my life in a way that perhaps even you don't know about, John, because, the ripple effect, your ripple has sort of come onto my life, and now I am paying it forward.
Excellent.
So thank you so much, and I appreciate you. God bless and take care.
Thank you, Kitty.
All right. Have a good day, John.
Until next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.